should go, it's nice that we got the run we did because it's not getting better.
They're saying I fell off. You're their favorite streamer now.
Oh.
I mean,
here's what's interesting.
or maybe it will, and God bless.
You.
When I was a kid, I remember reading about like the fall of the Roman Empire and the fall of the Greek Empire, and then I was thinking about America.
No, you read those phrases and you never actually knew what caused it.
Right.
Is that possible? Is it possible?
When he says he read about the fall of the Roman Empire and the Greek Empire, first of all, Greek Empire, at least Byzantine, shouts out to the Turks, 1453, best year of my life. But as far as like he's talking about the Roman Empire, which is like he when he says he read something about it, he means like he watched that white supremacist Stefan Molyneux.
No, he watched Troy. He watched like
I was because he used to write. He did like a very famous like fall of the Roman Empire happened because like they were too woke.
Oh yeah,
or something.
They're like dressed up. That book, The Virtue of Nationalism, who's by like the version like who basically says the same things as a lot of these guys in that kind of way, like but dressed up for like think tank folks. Like his argument is basically the same thing, that it's like cultural softness and not at all about like, challenges of accumulation or, how do we like allocate the vast wealth that we have? And, maybe do we free our slaves? I don't know. Like, I mean, it's very interesting. These guys,
they went woke, dude, and they got
that's
broke.
it. They just went woke. There's no history,
and like
there's nothing to be learned.
What's really funny about that also is that they always talk about like wokeness as or moral decay, moral degeneracy. Nationalists love talking about that as though like Romans weren't butt fucking like crazy from the jump. Okay, like they were never not butt fucking. Okay, like anyway, it's always funny to add like the relatively new Christian understanding of homosexuality when discussing wokeness destroying Rome.
Also, it's just like doing the degeneracy card or any of this. It's just non sequiturs.
Possible that this is just one. I mean, we want to think it's fucking permanent, but I bet the people of Rome felt the same way.
Of course they did.
This is how it is. This is how I live every day. This is not going to change.
Right.
And Russians know.
They know.
They know.
Their
know
society's collapsed.
They've been through it.
Our society will go down. Nothing will ever be funnier. America will come apart in one of the funniest ways. All of these people, these grifters, everybody circling the wagons, the Caitlyn Jenners, the Donald Trumps. It'll be funny till you'll die laughing. Literally, you'll die, but you will be laughing. It will be the most absurd and insane thing. It will be out of a fucking dystopian horror movie, and it won't be funnier than America because we're a crazy country. Full of crazy people, and everybody's just trying to suck the last few dollars out of this bloated pig corpse of an empire before the end. And I'm no different. Watch my special and subscribe to my pod. What am I going to fucking sit here? What am I going to go preach on a fucking mountain? We got to make a little money
What
here.
am I going to do?
But
Be a
make no
person?
mistake. I mean, if I'm wrong, and I'd love to be wrong, but if your attitude or your idea is that the population's going to get smarter, healthier, and more adept at problems.
I mean, yeah, he's just like tackling revolutionary optimism by talking about how. I mean, he just has a very nihilistic perspective on things, and I think that justifies his him engaging in the same like gratuitous capitalist culture of consumption, and seeing everything from the framework of content, which I do too. I do too.
It's also though, it's like I agree with him and like on the premise that like consumption is just like that's all we got. That is like the experience that people are primed to give, and whether it's travel or eating at restaurants. I mean, like there's a reason that we we've remade the world to accommodate so many tourist economies, in spite of the fact that like it's so low paying for domestic populations. It's just that like I can't. That consumption thing though, like it's also like because it's expenditure, because it shapes the way people think and act in like this destructive and like arresting way. To my mind, it also stands to reason that like then it means it makes it that much more meaningful when we resist it ever so goddamn slightly, and instead of just being like come for me, like I can't vibe with that.
I mean, look, I like comfort. Okay, I like 37 different brands of Oreos made by the same like 6 multinational corporations. But I think that is an adequate mechanism of keeping people docile and keeping people fat and lazy and happy to a certain degree. I think that method of control, if you believe that there needs to be a mechanism of control, that mechanism of control is significantly more adequate and demonstrably more successful, especially when it's paired up with like imperialism and endless bloodshed and constant military dominance worldwide, than a more authoritarian one that says you can't have nice things. I think you kind of see that with China too. Like China kind of took over that. I feel as though China realized like you got to give people coffee.
Well, some of it is also there's I think like in their case, you know, like looking at like the scope of the 20th century, like you know the something that like the Americans now, like we've had like my grandma didn't one of my grandparents didn't grow up with running water. However, that is not the case for almost anybody who has parents in America now. In China, it's literally one generation of uplift from like, you know, like some of the most desperate rural poverty to fucking like, you know, like making like people who like order like, I don't know, the Chinese equivalent of Sweetgreen or whatever on their delivery apps and are just as, you know, like degenerate consumers in a capitalist society as we are to a point. And to me, it's sort of like, well, if you view it in perspective, it's like, yeah, Americans like as a settler colonial country that has like never had like a real check on its power as it's grown, like, yeah, like it's going to ultimately have the most fucked up and like outsized like relationship with how we manage, you know, our population's own patterns of consumption. Whereas China, it's like, yeah, in the scope of like the last century, they've had to deal with like, you know, what we never frankly had to deal with. So there's to me a kind of way where it's like the things that he's describing about how it's like, you know, and he was saying earlier about like, you know, how we used to be this country that, you know, fucked up the world, but we made great movies and all that stuff. It's like, well, there's no like, you know, like that wasn't good or an optimal path then either, and it's not worth like being nostalgic for it. I guess there's, you know,
I don't even know. I mean, look, I don't know the entirety of Tim Dillon's perspective. I don't even know if he like says that is a good thing. You know what I mean? Maybe he's just saying like all of that was supposed to amount to like, you know, constantly sitting around on our asses and eating grapes. Like
said earlier, the nihilism thing. It's just that it's like, you know, some of it's like it's like a, you know, like I don't think that like I don't think he earnestly believes that it's like tight that everything's going to hell in a handbasket, but it's like,
no, he's joking. I think he's like, I think he's like being a little sarcastic, but who knows?
I'm solving. You're on fucking crack.
Oh, yeah, probably. You're probably right.
Yeah.
Well, what happens next?
I think the irony of like having this conversation though, while talking about like how we have nothing and all we have is like treats, is pretty ironic. But then we are contributing that to that cycle as well.
Well,
like,
no, but like that's if you view like your contribution to it totally in this term of like, am I like only plugged into like, you know, the discourse machine today? Then it's like, you know, like if that's the standard, then like sure, yeah, you're playing in the same muck.
Yeah.
However, it's like if you believe that people can say qualitatively different things and choose to respond to events in that way, then like, you know, I don't think everybody's all equally bad. They're, you know,
for sure.
You're just mostly bad, Hasan.
Oh, thank you. What the fuck? Why did I get God damn, I was waiting on a phone call and it was like a 1 second one. What the fuck is that about?
Oh, that's so annoying.
Why did I get a 1 second call? Come on.
Like, do you think we ever descend into some sort of like CCP controlled world? Like that kind of totalitarian government? Do you think it's possible
Not totalitarian,
that through
fake
technology and just through people just falling apart, getting losing their...
Dude, it'd be so crazy if like,
if
you know...
everybody had homes and there was no poverty.
No, it'd be so crazy if like America got like a mechanism of control that like monitors your every movement and and literally like denies you adequate care and rations healthcare on the basis of like how much money you have, and also on top of that like decides if there is like an arbitrary number associated with your wealth and how well you can pay off a debt, for example. That arbitrary number is now going to haunt you for the rest of your life.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
You won't be able to get a house.
You called the cops once, and you're poor. Whoops, we're gonna take your kids away now.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it'd be crazy if that
Crazy
happened
if that
here.
happened.
Yeah, it happens in China, but if it happened here, holy shit, dude.
Mm.
I mean, of course, Joe Rogan will never think about that.
Also, if they started throwing everybody in prison, just kind of like willy nilly for small offenses.
Oh yeah, like drug possession.
Yeah, or if there was like a crazy plutocracy that just bought up all this real estate and made sure that nobody else could have any.
Yeah, no, that would be wild. Thank God that's not happening in the United States of America.
Freedom.
Yeah, the freest country on earth, which, freedom ain't free, though. That's why we have to house 25% of the incarcerated population of the fucking planet.
That's not just about neutralizing a proletariat or, making sure that...
Or having a steady flow of slave labor, which is, of course, still protected by the Constitution.
Or, it's also we don't make our neighbor countries do that either with, like, the maquiladoras in Mexico, where everybody just makes poverty wages.
Yeah, no, of course not. These are many things to think about. It's not like that.
No.